on the positive side, I was able to find somebody for the first time today, a former American general, and he's one of the few guys that actually says it like it is.
If you take a look at, Crimea, people haven't really talked about Crimea because it was all, like it or not, it was almost assumed like it was lost because that was, 8+ years ago. And so that was sort of new. And I think that frustrated with Trump today. But the point about those lines, yeah, we've discussed it. Is that something that you can negotiate out with Russia? There'd have to be some huge carrot for Russia to pull back because there's no possible way military for them to be pushed back. So there has to be something there. But I still think that the lines are going to be negotiated where everybody has to give a little wiggle here to get something. Demilitarized zone, we discussed that. So that's really going to be the biggest thing to really work out. I mean, if you ask, Putin really wants most of Ukraine from Kyiv, at least east. That's where all the money is. And he still has a lot of troops. So in the long game, Russia dominates this. Unfortunately, Ukraine doesn't have enough people to last, and it's been 3 years.
You see, he gets right to the heart of the matter. It almost doesn't matter how many, even if, say, the European Union just said, you know what, we're going everything. We'll empty out all of our coffers. We'll give them all of our combat equipment, all of our tanks, all of our artillery pieces, everything. You can have it all as though it were yours, and we won't even have a military left. It still wouldn't change the balance because there aren't men on the Ukraine side to use it. And here now, this General Ignazio, and by the way, I'm going to try to get him on our show because it's so rare to find somebody of a former flag officer rank that's actually on camera telling it like it is. So thank goodness there are some of those. I hope that's just a trend that's going to continue on, and these other guys are going to be exposed for being the ridiculous statements that they've made when none of it lines up with reality. But here's at least is one that's coming to that conclusion. But there's going to have to be more, though. It's not enough to have a handful. We need a lot more. But here's where we are right now. The net of all this is this right here. We showed you Ambassador Polyansky, who said what the Russian position is officially on our show, that they will achieve the security that they need and the outcomes based on diplomacy, which they are willing to do under these draconian terms I told you about it, but they're willing to stop there. Or they're going to fight for it on the battlefield. They will get it one way or the other. There's no third way for them. It's either this deal or this method, and it's going to be military. You just heard General Ignazio there. He comes to the same conclusion I do. The Ukraine side doesn't have the manpower to prevent it. The Russian side has the manpower to make it happen. That's just the reality. So that's the military reality on the ground. And then on top of that, you have Zelensky, who has refused Trump's offer. According to the New York Times, according to really what we showed you from a couple of hours ago, he said, yeah, I'm looking for my deal. I'm not looking for Trump's deal. So I'm not playing on that. You have the European Unions continue to reject that anything that Trump is trying to do. Mark Rutte was in the White House a couple of days ago and made a statement afterwards that, Putin is the aggressor, and we need to just keep on doing whatever we need to do to make sure he doesn't succeed. Not agreeing to Trump's deal about we need to end the war, and it needs to talk about these 4 territories plus Crimea. No one in the West is even wanting to talk about that. You have Trump saying we either this deal that I'm offering here is accepted or I'm going to walk. And then you have the Russian side saying, we're just going to win one way or the other. So it's almost like a boxing ring, and you got 4 players. You got the Ukraine side here, you have the European side here, you have Trump here, and you have Putin over on this corner. And they're all very far apart. Maybe you can say that the Putin and the Trump side are a little kind of closer together, but even there's some still major gaps between them. But between Trump and Europe and Trump and Zelensky, it's all the way across the ring. And so what is that going to mean going forward? I mean, it's pretty clear. Russia has the means. They have the will. They will either get it this way or they'll get it militarily. Ukraine has the desire, but they don't have the capacity. So they don't have the ability to go down that path. So either they agree to this ugly deal that is even worse than the one Trump is offering, or that just inertia will take it down this. And there's actually I saw there was let's see if I've got it here handy. Yeah, there was an ex post by Yulia Mendel. She's the former press secretary for Zelensky. She posted earlier today some of the issues here that are on terms for this deal for the Ukraine side. The ceasefire said a permanent ceasefire, both sides immediately engage in technical implementation. Ukraine receives robust security guarantees. Ukraine will not be in NATO, but it can go in the European Union. And then I talk all the issues about the territory, the 4 areas, etc. And then the economics. U.S. and Ukraine will implement the economic cooperation and minerals agreement. Ukraine will fully be reconstructed and compensated financially. Sanctions on Russia will come down, but the U.S. economic cooperation will go forward some other areas. So some of those things are actually pretty good for Ukraine, and they're saying no. He is rejecting those. And so, it's interesting. I looked at some of the comments under there, but some of the people responding, they're saying, well, good. That's what it is. What a dumb thing to accept to. But let me just tell you something. There's going to come a day when the Ukraine people would think it's a fantasy to get something this good. What I'm describing right now here on the 25th of April, 2025, as being an ugly deal. It's represented by here because it does require a great many bad things from the Ukraine side. If they don't take that ugly deal and it goes down this other, it'll never be this good again, folks. It'll never be this good again. This is as good as it's going to get as the payment for our unwillingness to do things that made sense earlier on. And so now then, we're going to have to wait and see, because the one guy who has the power over all this is Volodymyr Zelensky, the guy in this corner of the ring. Putin said, I'm going to do either this or that. But Trump is saying, this is what I want to happen. European Union is saying, well, this is kind of what we want to happen. But everything hinges on what this guy's going to do, because he can either say yes to this ugly deal or he can say no to this. And then he's going to be on his own, because Putin will go either this path or that path based on what he says. Trump will either go down a diplomatic path or he'll go on his own path based on what Zelensky says. Europe is just kind of like bystanders. They're just watching to see what happened. They don't have any leadership of any sort. So really, we're going to be watching very closely 2 things in the coming days, and we'll come and let you know the minute that we hear either of these 2 things. Either Trump is going to come out and say, I warned them, I told them, they didn't listen, I'm walking. I meant what I said, here I go. And then that will be the trigger for Putin. They'll say, okay, diplomacy is now off the track, and the train is now moving down the military to a decisive outcome. And I don't know how long that would take, but with Trump walking and them losing anything future of that, and especially the psychological impact, I would wager it wouldn't be too long. Maybe some number of months, a short number of months. I doubt it would be a year or more. But you never can tell how those kind of things go. But the end is certain. Whether it's a month, 3 months, 12 months, it's definitely going to be over there. And then we'll just watch as it slow bleeds out. And that's how it's going to work out. So as soon as we either hear Trump say he's going to walk, or we hear Zelensky say I'm going to agree to it, then that'll tell us where this is going to go. But I think you all know where I expect it to go. It's going to be on this track right here, where we're going to make one final error as a collective West. We're going to reject this last chance for diplomacy, and there are going to be thousands more Ukrainian men who are alive as I'm making this video who will not be alive at the end. There will probably be hundreds of square kilometers of territory that right now are Ukraine that could remain Ukraine under this deal that they'll reject and end up losing that too. And they'll probably never get it back, at least not in our lifetimes.